Hi guys, so we're back again with another reading, and this one is all about messages from your future self. So we're going to see what your future self wants you to know, what messages they have for you, guidance they have for you, and whatever they want to tell you, we're going to get into it. I love these kind of readings because they stay very open-ended, so we can really tailor it to whatever your guides want you to know in this moment. And today we have a beautiful selection of fruit for you guys to choose from. I am going to show you guys what they look like up close in just a moment. If it's your first pick a card reading, you want to go towards the one your energy is feeling called to and drawn to. So in this case, because it's a pick a fruit reading, you're going to go towards the piece of fruit that just seems to catch your eye, or you might even hear it in your head as like a voice or a number, maybe saying the item like strawberry or melon or whatever. But however you get your guidance, you should get some kind of intuitive message or feeling about which pile to pick, and that will be the pile with the message for you. Trust your judgment here. Don't overthink it. It's usually your first instinct or the first thing that pops into your head. And of course, once you make up your mind, you can just scroll down to the comments and to the description and head straight to your timestamp and go into your message. I also want to mention that I do have my Patreon up with a ton of additional readings, over 35 readings about life, love, spirituality, relocation, all different kinds of topics. And I just posted one yesterday all about your career, what you need to know about that, and your destiny and life purpose. So it's a really deep, intense one, kind of long, but I really loved that one. And we got some really good messages for you guys. So if you would like to watch that, then head on over to my Patreon. The link for that is in my description and underneath the timestamps in the comments. And of course, when you sign up, you don't just get access to that reading, you get access to over 35 readings, all my readings, and we post new ones all the time, vote on new ones, have open suggestions for new ones. So it's a lot of fun, and I hope you guys will join our little community party over there. So like I said, join my Patreon. Link is in my description and underneath the timestamps in the comments as well. So now let me show you guys what they look like up close. This is pile one, and it's a little kiwi fruit. You can see all the detail from the seeds. It's really textured very realistically, just like an actual kiwi would be. This is the strawberry, also really great texture, and like the color shading, seriously amazing, super realistic. Then this is the melon. I love the detail on the rind, is that what it's called? The outer part of the melon, super realistic. And this texture, I don't know if you can see it in the light, but the texture is really accurate as well. And finally, these little clementine slices, so much detail. The texture is just amazing. Like, they did such a good job. So with all that being said, I also want to mention that I do private readings. And so if you would like to get one of those, head to my website, briarrosetarot.com. You can get a pre-recorded reading or a live one-on-one session with me. And you can ask about whatever topic you would like, within reason, of course. But most of the time, the vast majority of topics are perfectly fine to ask about, and we can channel whatever it is you want to know about, or you can keep it very open-ended and just have me open channel and get messages from your guides and keep it open. So you get to decide how the reading goes. If you would like to get that, you can head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and sign up for a half hour or a full hour session with me. So now I think I said everything I need to say. If you guys need more time to decide, you can totally feel free to rewind, pause, and take as much time as you need. But we're going to go ahead and jump into pile one. Okay, so pile one, starting off your reading, we got lost in space, needing directions, unmarked trail, revelation, the wall, obstacles, and galactic mushroom, the divine matrix. And these two are reversed, of course. So the first thing I'm getting is that you guys feel like you're blocked right now. Like you feel right now very uncertain of the future. Maybe you're in a place where you're uncertain about something relating to your job, or I'm hearing living situation, or there's just some unpredictable energy around you right now with something in your life that you really can't predict. And I feel like right now it's almost like there's a low point happening in your head of like, what is going on and is this going to work out? I'm just hearing the song in my head by Taylor Swift where she says, I took a knife to a gunfight, call it what you want. And so I feel like there's a message here, or a feeling here of almost like, I bet wrong, or like I thought this was going to work out, and right now I'm at that place where I really don't know if it is working out. I don't know if this is gonna work out for me. I don't know how this is gonna turn out. I thought it was going to turn out good, and right now I feel kind of stupid. Like I feel kind of lost. I feel kind of unsure. And that is always a very low point to reach at, you know, to be in that energy. It's always a hard time. But I do feel like what's interesting is we got the galactic mushroom, the divine matrix, and that card came out reversed. And that card is actually about your hopes and wishes and dreams coming true, and that you have the power, like your guides are really listening. And even though that came out reversed, I actually feel like that's a message that your guides are listening to you and they are very present around you right now. You just really can't feel it. Like I feel that there's some energy here of you feeling like you're kind of lost, you're not being protected by them, they're not with you, but like they're right nearby. Kind of like a little kid who, you know, sometimes you'll see that a video someone will post on YouTube of their kids and they'll like be like, hey, don't eat this. Like, I don't know if this was a viral challenge happening or going around, but where they would give their kids some food and they'd be like, by the way, you can't eat this till I get back. And so the kids are sitting there with like the bowl full of like Reese's Pieces in front of them, and then they'll film them and their reactions and whether they're going to take it or not. And just what's coming to my mind with that is the kid thinks they're alone, but their parents are like just in the other room totally watching. And I feel like that's what's going on with you, is like you feel very alone right now, but I actually feel like you're being very divinely guided and very protected. And I feel like I'm getting a message that for a lot of you guys, if you actually paid attention to things that have happened in your life within the past few months, even though you might be feeling kind of untethered and like you're just on your own in this, I feel like there have been miraculous instances that if you really thought about, it would be proof to you that your guides really are with you. Because it's almost like there have been times when you thought that something was gonna really go bad, or you thought that, you know, you were kind of out of luck or something, and then it's like things just magically worked out. And I am hearing that your guides had a big role in that, and they're very happy actually with what you're doing. Maybe you took some kind of risk, maybe you have removed yourself from the matrix. I don't know why I keep hearing that in readings lately. I do not know why, but maybe you have kind of withdrawn from like a certain predictable path for yourself and you pivoted to something else, and that's always a risky feeling, a risky journey. That's why it's called the hero's journey, is because it involves some element of really doing what other people wouldn't, and being brave and being bold and going against the crowd. And that's not easy to do. And I feel like you guys have done that. And when you're in that energy, it's really hard because, yeah, you're going to get judgment from others. And it's interesting, like how much we are influenced by the people around us. Like even when you travel a lot, you'll find people's behaviors, like people's ideas of what's polite or what's rude or whatever, they're so influenced by culture, you know? So what's shocking in one culture and like, oh my God, that's so rude, is polite in another culture, and vice versa. And that just shows the power that we have of the people around us, the judgments we pick up in life, in childhood, whatever. And the fact that you guys have been able to break out of that and set your own path, I just feel like it's really a testament to you. The other cards we got, we're going into the tarot, is the Queen of Cups, the Hanged Man, Three of Wands, Six of Swords, Two of Wands, and the Empress. And this is where I'm like, wow, like I just feel that this is such a powerful moment for you guys of really transforming your life. The Hanged Man is a really interesting energy because it is looking at something very differently and you know, kind of inverting your perspective of it so that you're not looking at it in the traditional way. And, you know, it's a spiritual card. That's why, you know, even some yogis practice that inversion where you're doing a handstand and they believe you can get spiritual downloads that way because there's something different about looking at the world like upside down, you know? And so much of the time we just take things in as they are. We don't even think about them. We don't even process them. And I just want to give you guys like a little round of applause because I feel like you guys have really taken the time to look outside of yourself and to look outside of the paradigm you were raised with and to do something very different and to really push yourself to go outside of the bounds of this and to really take a risk and not just follow a traditional path. It feels like you guys have pushed yourself to be very different, to stick out of the crowd a little bit. And another thing with the Hanged Man though is it can come in an instance of, it can feel like a little bit of a loss. It actually precedes the Death card. So it sometimes is that moment when you're kind of finally accepting that something needs to change, or that you maybe took a temporary L, or that something in your life that you kind of had wanted to work out isn't going to work out. And I don't feel like, by the way, I'm not saying something around you guys isn't going to work out. I feel like in a way, as much as the Death card is a release of something we've been trying to hold on to, like it can be a relief when we reach the Hanged Man and we realize maybe we did step outside the paradigm and maybe we can't go back. Kind of like crossing a bridge and then it crumbles behind us. And it's like, oh, okay, I thought I could go back to that. I thought that was an option, or I thought this was going to happen and I knew I was going outside the bounds, but I didn't really expect it to be that fully like over. You know, I didn't expect that like the highway behind me would go up in smoke and suddenly I could never go back. And I'm not saying you guys can never go back, but I feel like you're forging this new path, this new identity, and this new really exciting stage in your life with the Three of Wands and the Two of Wands. Those are such adventurous cards. And it shows two parts. It's interesting we got the Two of Wands and then we got the Three of Wands, because those are two separate cards that kind of have similar meanings but have different aspects of it. So the two is kind of more of the planning, and the three is when you really start to put the action to it. The two is kind of surveying and being like, okay, I'm gonna go there, and the three is like setting out on that journey. And I feel like you guys are in both of those stages. Like you're starting some endeavor, you're doing something, you're leaving something behind, Six of Swords, but it's not fully set. It's not like, okay, I know exactly what's gonna happen next. I know everything. This path is set for me. Everyone, like maybe a lot of other people have done this path before. That doesn't feel like the energy. It feels like you guys are setting a new path. Like you are kind of an explorer, like hacking through a jungle. And, you know, I have mentioned this before, but it comes to my mind in certain readings where someone is really doing something new. Excuse the siren. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but one time when I was hiking in the mountains of Virginia, I ended up getting lost, and I ended up like I had been on this certain path on the path, and because it was very overgrown and not a lot of people had been on that trail before, I ended up being like, okay, so I think it's there. Because if you've ever been to Virginia in the summer, it's very overgrown, it's very lush, there's a lot of like rain and vegetation. And in the Appalachian Mountains, the energy is very intense there. And anyway, it's kind of easy to get lost if you're just, because it was so overgrown, the trail was not like well traveled, and there was a lot of overgrowth onto the trail, and somehow I got lost, thought something else was the trail, and then quickly, like not quickly because it was too late to turn back, I realized I was off trail. I was like, this is not a trail at a certain point. Like it kept on for a while. And so I was like, okay, I think I go that way. And by the time I realized it, it was too late to turn back. And that feeling of like not having the trail, it was honestly really kind of scary. And also I was surprised by how hard it was to get through like the undergrowth, get through the bushes. I mean, I've been in nature plenty of times, but I realized that so much of the time it had been made easier because I was on like a set trail. And when you're doing your own thing, when you're hacking through that undergrowth yourself, and you're really having to like fight against the like bushes and the ferns and all the like overgrown grass, it can be like, it's a lot of work. And I feel like that's what you guys are doing right now. So if you're feeling tired, exhausted, even having issues with sleep, I feel like you need to know that this is part of the path, part of the journey you're on. But we did get the Queen of Cups and the Empress. I love that for you guys. And I do feel like this is confirmation that you really are on the right path. And I do feel there's also a message here for you guys to take it easy a little bit. With the Empress energy, she is not someone who is pushing herself to like achieve super a lot of things. Like, she's in a very gentle energy in the Rider-Waite, you know, she's in repose. And I feel like with you guys, there's an energy here of wanting you to kind of relax and take it easy and pay attention to your emotional side. If you're feeling a little burnt out, if you're feeling a little stressed, it's totally okay for you guys to relax, take it easy, have a lazy Sunday, or have a day where you're not pushing yourself so hard. And it's totally okay for you to recollect or collect your energy and just kind of rest up and go after your hobbies, your interests, and the things that make you feel good, the things that make you feel happy, high vibrational, excited. And it's okay to pay attention to that emotional side of your life. I feel like there is a focus on that for the next few months with you, or at least the next couple weeks, where your guides are like, hey, like, go a little easy on yourself right now, because I feel like if you pay attention to it, you have done so much. You've inverted so many things in your life already. You have broken the mold for so many things and been this trailblazer. And like, it's okay if you want to kind of kick your feet up and have a cup of tea or spend an afternoon reading magazines or whatever you want to do, you know? So I feel like, yeah, you kind of need that permission, because you guys are a little hard on yourselves. Pile one. Let's get some of these cards. Spirit, can you give me messages for pile one? And community is interesting. I was picking on that for some of you guys with the Queen of Cups. I almost mentioned it, but I do feel like there might be an emphasis on you guys getting to be around community or having friendships or having to actively seek that out. Like, it might be something where you're doing your own thing, marching to the beat of your own drum. But if you get opportunities to meet up with people, to have connections, and to have spirit put people in your life that you will randomly meet and get along with and have good conversation with, I feel like you should take those opportunities and you should seek them out, because I do feel like you guys will recharge your batteries that way and really enjoy those relationships. You know, we're not islands. And of course, hermit mode or high priestess energy, where you're kind of spending time alone getting downloads from spirit, is very powerful. But also, you know, there's so many different aspects to life, and one of those is the connection to others. So make sure you're not like missing out on that. Make sure that if you have the opportunity to meet up with someone, that you are. Can you clarify this community card, Spirit? Clarify the community card. Clarify community. So it may be that some of you guys are having anxiety about meeting up with people, or having social anxiety, or even just being stuck in your own energy, and it kind of stresses you out. Like, oh, I don't want to call this person, I don't want to talk to that person, I just kind of want to be alone. But I feel like actually it would help some of your mental state to be able to go meet up with people, to be able to make the time out for your friendships, even if it's just calling a friend or chatting with someone, or, you know, even starting a relationship, or just chatting with a stranger, you know. But I feel like making a little bit of time for relationships would actually help you, and would help you to make money and have more success, which is maybe what you guys want. You guys feel very goal oriented to me. You don't feel like you're someone who is super, like, you know, relationship obsessed, but maybe it's a good thing to carve some time out in your life to make time for those relationships, and not to be an island, you know, to accept that we are all connected to others. Let me get some of these cards too. Spirit, can you give me guidance for pile one? Can pile one's future self come through in this reading? This one says education, metamorphosis, encouragement into the unknown, and spirit of place. I feel like a lot of you guys are going through some transformations. Spirit just had a message for me to you guys about staying focused on the prize. Eyes on the prize, stay focused on the goal. Don't allow yourself to be thrown off track by moods or by negative feelings, because I feel like if you panned out and really looked at what you're doing something really amazing. You guys are making something really amazing happen for yourself. And yeah, it does seem like it feels nerve-wracking to you. It feels like it's a lot of pressure, but I also feel like what you're doing is super special, super unprecedented. I just heard that quote from like Lady Gaga where she says amazing, incredible, like show-stopping, never been done before, especially with an emphasis on never been done before. So I feel that whatever you're doing, it is bold, it is different, it is very new, and it's maybe something that other people might look at you and be like, what is this person doing? This doesn't make sense. I don't get what they're up to. I don't get what the point is of this. And maybe even a little weirded out by whatever it is that you're up to. But I feel like your guides are fully supporting you in this journey and this endeavor. And they're really happy with the forward momentum you're making. It does feel like you're going after a certain task or a certain goal, a certain project. And I feel like none of the negative feelings you're having right now are going to stop you from achieving that. I feel like if you were to really stay focused and, like I said, pan out and look at it from a bird's eye view, I just keep seeing images of like, you're so close. Like there's those stories of someone who's, like mining for a diamond and they're so close to hitting the diamond, and then they pack up their tools and leave, and it would have been one more strike of like their little pickaxe that would have revealed the diamond to them. And I feel like that's the vibe with you, is like you're so close. You're so close to some kind of breakthrough. You're so close to some kind of major change, major forward momentum that's going to be happening for you. And I feel like your guides are just like, keep going. Don't give up on this. Just keep pushing yourself. Can we have any more guidance, specific guidance? I want to go back to the tarot for pile 1 about what they need to know, Spirit. Knight of Pentacles. That's what I'm saying. Like, you guys are really close to achieving certain things and making certain things happen. You are, I feel like, just things are going to have a breakthrough soon. And I feel like right now it's just a matter of you keeping your head in the game, keeping your head straight. And also, I just got an image of someone playing like hockey or sports, and it's almost like it's okay to win or to lose a couple games. Even whoever wins like the Stanley Cup or the Super Bowl or the World Cup, they don't necessarily have to win every game. It's not like, oh, you lost one game, okay, you're out forever. You're never allowed to play again. Like, even the best players like Alexander Ovechkin, I got a rep for the Caps because I'm from DC, but Alex Ovechkin, or I guess Tom Brady in football, or Messi in soccer, they have games they've lost. They've had games they haven't played well. And maybe some of you guys are being hard on yourself with certain aspects, or like holding your feet to the fire in a way that's kind of unhealthy. The best thing to do is sometimes accept, like, okay, I lost that game. Yeah, I didn't do super well in that. So anyway, on to the next. I'm gonna stay positive, gonna keep going, gonna keep my eyes on the prize. And if you do that and you have the mental ability to stay focused, to keep your mindset right, then you have the opportunity to actually win that Super Bowl. But if you were to like pack up your things and be like, I'm never playing again, of course you're never going to win that Super Bowl. You have to be able to recollect yourself. I don't know why I keep saying that in my readings, because I don't think it's a word, or at least not intended to be used like that, but collect your energy and to direct it towards, sorry guys, I just sneezed. I had to cut that out because I know you didn't want to hear me and my horribly loud sneezes. I used to make fun of my mom because she has really loud sneezes, and of course, karma, I totally inherited them. So anyway, but what I was saying was, if you can have the ability to redirect your energy, to stay focused, to keep going, to persist, even despite everything coming against you, that's when you're able to really achieve victory. And this is why I mentioned, Mars is exalted in Capricorn, the most goal-oriented energy. Mars is exalted in one of the slowest energies. Saturn and Capricorn is very slow moving. So why is that? It's because Capricorn is stubborn. And once they get going on something, they're never going to stop. They're going to keep going. And that slowness kind of works for them. It's not just about, rushing in and being the first to get something, or being having so much energy directed towards something and then burning out. It's about consistently keeping going one step after the other and slowly making your way up the mountain, just like the mountain goat does, aka Capricorn. So I feel like for you guys, it's just kind of encouragement that your guides are giving you, that all the things you want are possible and you're going to be able to achieve them. And your guides just don't want you giving up or getting dejected or feeling like, oh, like this is just not working out, because they're like, yes, it is. If you're actually going to pay attention to this, it is working out for you. You're doing so good. Oh, and as I'm saying that, you guys saw that. It just flew out. Strength card. I feel like you guys just need to be a little bit strong and have this toughness. And I feel like there's so many things that you're capable of doing. There's this core inner strength within you that I feel like you are really powerful at this. You're really powerful at achieving whatever it is you want. Whatever this goal is, you're good at it. You know, whatever this is that you're trying to do. Maybe you just want a relationship, or maybe you are wanting to improve your fitness, or maybe you have a certain goal with career or with I have no idea, a creative hobby. But whatever it is, you're good at it. You really can do it. And what I love about the strength card is, like, you would think strength card would be like a ripped dude, you know, like a super muscular guy, maybe flexing, but instead it's a picture of a woman showing that there are different ways to be strong. And I feel like you guys are really gifted at this. And one of the most important ways to be strong, in my opinion, is mentally strong. It's not just about physical strength, although that's important too, of course, but it's about mental strength. It's about being like, I'm not going to let you get me down with this. I'm going to continue to work on myself, because how we talk to ourselves is the most important thing. I still remember my grandmother is the one who told me that when I was young, or like a teenager, and she was saying, you know, how you talk to yourself in life, Briar, that's the most important thing. And you got to talk to yourself and be your best advocate in life. And I think that that's the best advice. I really think it is, because if you can have an internal monologue that supports yourself, that's positive to yourself, that is your own biggest fan and supporter, then that's the best thing. It's not to say you can never like make a joke at your own expense, or you can never tease yourself inside your head or something. But at the end of the day, when you know that you have your own back, and I know that sounds crazy. It sounds like I'm talking about like two different personalities. But when you know that you have your back, that you are going to advocate for yourself, that you support yourself, that you talk to yourself in a positive way, that you have something good to say, that when a negative thought creeps in of like, yeah, you're never going to do that, or like, you can't do that, you're not smart enough, that you shut that ish down really quick. And you might even have to say in your head, excuse me, who are you? You don't know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? You might have to talk back to yourself. And I know this probably does sound like a crazy person. Like, we have an image of it, someone who's maybe talking to themselves and they don't seem all mentally there, but I actually think this is really important, like, to do, is to have that internal monologue, because we all know those negative thoughts for anyone will sometimes creep in. Or you'll look in the mirror and you're having an off day and you'll think like, oh, I look so bad today. And then you talk back to yourself and say like, you look fabulous, you look gorgeous, I love the way your eyes are really so bright today, they're just shining. Or, oh my gosh, your lips look super full and smooth today, whatever the case may be. But finding those positive, speaking up vocally to yourself, fighting back against any negativity that might creep in is really important. And I feel that if you guys are going through a little bit of a low point right now, like, that's just in your head, and that shows the power of the mind too. I mean, think of how many people who are so successful are like really depressed, or have seriously are just struggling mentally with whatever. And that shows that, at the end of the day, and these are people that should feel really proud of everything they've accomplished, right? They have the world at their fingertips, and we all can see it. All the rest of us are like, oh my God, but they were amazing. And yet they are down on themselves. And that's why it's really important that we fight back against these negative thoughts, and we keep ourselves positive. We keep ourselves focused on, I'm amazing, I'm awesome, I'm beautiful, I'm special. I have something that only I can offer the world. I have something that only I can give. I have something inside of me that is only me, that is so unique, and that the world will benefit from, and I'm special and important in my way. And that's really important why we have the talk back. So yeah, I feel like you guys are really incredible. Pile one, you guys are doing something so special, so unique, and I just want you to get your mind right. It's okay to have an off day. It's okay to have a day when, you know, you're not feeling your best or whatever, but making sure that we take those active steps of like gassing ourselves up, being our own biggest fan, pushing ourselves to think more positive, pushing ourselves to like put a positive spin or have a laugh at whatever's happening, or not be resilient, not let negativity creep in. That's so important. And I feel like that's what your guides want you to know, is to take an active role in this, to start speaking up, speaking back, and talking to yourself when the going gets tough, because it will, right? No matter who we are, no matter what we're going through, we'll all have off days, we'll all have hard times, but that inner voice shows that you have the power and control to dictate how far it spreads, whether it spreads into like a full-blown like, I'm a loser and I blah blah blah, or whether it's a passing thought that just goes in one ear and out the other and never really seeps down into our consciousness. And that's how we want to keep it. It's kind of like when you have rain gutters on a house or something, like, you know, you don't want that rain seeping into the roof or whatever, so you have gutters to redirect it out, right? So the rain might come down, but it just filters right down into like the spout, into a drain somewhere. And that's why it's really important that we have that in our mind as well, so that like once the negativity comes in, oh, let me just get rid of this, let me filter this out and just put it right where it belongs, in the gutter, and I'm not going to let it affect me. So yeah, I think that is what I have for you, pile one. I apologize that I'm suddenly super stuffed up. I wasn't when I started this reading, but I don't know. I guess maybe something's coming on. So I apologize if I sounded really nasally, but hopefully it resonated, guys. Let me know if it did. I really love hearing your thoughts. So if you've been going through something, or if you have a goal you're going after and you're feeling kind of dejected about something about it, or whatever, I would love to know your thoughts and how this applies to your situation. So let me know in the comments. Also, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, hit the like button if it did resonate, and make sure to subscribe and turn those notifications on so you can find out as soon as I post. And if you guys would like to see more of my readings, head on over to my Patreon. Link is in my description and underneath the timestamps in the comments. And when you sign up, you get access to over 35 additional readings. And I just posted one yesterday all about your career, what's going on with your career and your destiny. We went into a lot of deep detail about that, so definitely check that out. Like I said, link is in my description and underneath the timestamps in the comments for my Patreon. And if you guys would like a private one-on-one reading with me, you can also get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com. Get a half hour or a full hour session with me and talk about whatever it is you want to ask about within reason. Maybe there's some topics that are off limits, but most topics are totally fine. And so, yeah, whatever you guys would like to ask me about, I'm at your disposal for that. And so if you'd like to get that, head to my website, briarrosetarot.com. Link is in my description for that as well. So that's about all I have to say, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will be back very soon for another reading. Take care, guys, and I'll see you then. Bye. Hey pile 2, welcome to your reading. So you guys got overflow, overwhelm, and plenty, magician's sword, confidence in your magic, skywriting the fates, and horned cactus, resourcefulness. So I'm feeling like for a lot of you guys, maybe lately there's a little bit of stagnation, or things almost seem quiet. I'm hearing the calm before the storm, and I feel like things are really about to pick up in your life. Some of you guys are going to have manifestations come through, and they're going to come through as a surprise. I'm seeing that some of the things that maybe you're working on now or doing now in your life, you don't even realize how much fruit it's going to bear. You might think like, oh, this is no big deal. It's kind of like someone who, I don't know, goes to the gym every single day and they just get into a routine. They kind of forget about it. And the next thing they know, they look in the mirror and they have the dream physique that they always wanted. Or maybe someone who's trying to start a business and they, you know, think things are shaping up pretty well, but but they're totally shocked when they look at their books and they realize how much profit they made. That kind of a thing. Something I feel like you guys are working on that you're not really expecting or anticipating how much of a payoff there's going to be. And you're going to be really surprised by how this comes through. Like, I feel like within the next few months, I'm hearing early next year, you guys are going to start. And of course, whenever you're watching this, it's a timeless reading. So it could just be that it's December now. So that would be within the next few months for sure, of whenever you're watching it. But things are really going to pick up for you. And I feel like you're going to see some kind of a breakthrough with whatever this is. And I almost feel like there's a calm respite period for you right now where maybe you feel like nothing's happening. Maybe you're even a little bit bored, or you're feeling like, oh, okay, like I'm ready for something, but this is kind of stagnant. But I feel like things are kind of working underneath the surface. Kind of like if you've ever seen a duck or like a goose swimming around, or a swan, and they look super placid and graceful and they're just kind of gliding over the water, but underneath the surface, they're like paddling like crazy. That's kind of the vibe. Like, I feel like things are really moving forward for you. Things are really heading in a very powerful direction, but right now I don't think you guys are fully aware of how much things are going to take off and how surprised you're going to be at the time and how much things are going to change. Like, I feel like you're going to be busier within the next few months. Things are going to really pick up and you're just going to have a lot more activity. And I am seeing more focus and attention on you from others specifically. So for some of you guys, maybe your social life has been really stagnant and you're going to be attracting a lot of attention from people when you go out. People are going to be coming up to you in bars, or maybe it's just like at your workplace, your boss is going to be really focused on you and you're going to really stand out, and maybe you'll get like employee of the month every year or every month, or something like that. Or maybe you're putting out something on social media and it's going to be getting a lot of attention. But I just feel like there's other people that are going to be coming into your life and things are going to be a lot more active with that. You're going to be a lot more busy and your schedule is going to pick up. So Spirit is giving you a message about maybe resting up now, or like collecting your energy, so that when this moment comes, that you're not going to be like tired. You're going to have like some energy stores. So if this does seem like quiet right now, what I'm being shown is the image of like the first day of spring. You know how I feel like spring sneaks up on you? Like, a lot of times you'll just kind of get in this energy where you're like so fully used to winter. Like, maybe when winter, for like early days of January, you're still kind of used to like warmer weather, even though it's been a while and you went through fall, but you're still like, okay, maybe spring is going to happen. You have these memories of summer, but something happens by like the end of March where you're so used to the cold, you're so used to winter and the gray skies that you're just kind of forgetting about it. You're just like, okay, this is normal for me. And then you start seeing the first sprig of green grass like poking up through the ground, or you see the leaves start coming back and being green on the trees, or it's the first randomly warm day, or the birds start coming back and chirping really loud. And then you start realizing like, oh my God, I totally forgot. And I just got so used to it, but spring is here. We're coming into spring. And it seems to happen really fast in my experience. Like, a lot of times it's like you see that first leaf or you see that first sprig of grass poking through the ground, and then a week later, like there's grass everywhere, or there's, you know, lots of leaves on the tree. And it just seems like it happens in a burst. Like, you're waiting for it, you're kind of getting used to the cold, and then boom, everything changes. And I feel like that's what's going to happen to you guys within the next few months, is like, if things have been stagnant or your life has seemed like there hasn't been that much going on, things are going to change for you, and things are going to become much more active and much more involved, and going to really pick up a lot of speed in your life. Let's get into some of the tarot. We got the Fool, Judgment, Seven of Cups, Death, Four of Cups, and the Two of Wands. So let me put this back. But yeah, I do feel like right now you guys are kind of in this energy, and this can be a message not to miss opportunities when they come, not to just be so stagnant in your life that you're not paying attention to it. If spirit has given you guidance, if you're feeling, sometimes someone's in an energy where they're like, everything in my life is kind of boring or stuck, or it's not really moving forward, but they don't really do anything about it, they don't really take action. That can be one of the warnings of the Seven of Cups, which we got, is to like make sure you're taking action. Make sure they're not just visions or dreams in your mind. And when spirit shows you something, when spirit offers you an opportunity, that you don't just miss it and just kind of not pay attention and just stay stuck, stagnant in your energy. So if you have had an instinct or a dream or some kind of vision of something you could do to pick things up, like don't just discount that and just stay stuck in your own stagnant energy. If you do want this change, if you do want things to pick up and you do want things to be active and exciting and something big to happen to you, then, you know, get that ball rolling, get the energy flowing in your life and start heading in that direction. I also feel like this period in your life, you're doing a lot of manifestations. You're making things happen even if they haven't actually come into fruition. You know, I think it's really good to think of manifestation as things we're creating in the future, and our current life circumstances as like things that we manifested and created in the past. So just like if you went to an art gallery, like that's not what the artist might currently be working on. And sometimes you'll go to see like an artist or something like that, and the person's like, oh, you know, yeah, this was from my like blue era and now I'm painting all yellow. So they might even not like the stuff they made in the past. They might even have a weird feeling about it or be like, yeah, I don't think this stuff is that good, but I made it in the past. And so even though those things might not have shown up in our life quite yet, like even if we're like, yeah, but right now I'm broke, or right now I'm alone, or right now I have this, that's not going to be our life in a year from now, 2 years from now, even in a good way. Right now I have lots of money, but you're not really doing anything with it financially, or you're not taking steps to continue making the money pour in. Or right now I'm in a relationship, but the relationship is really going bad and you're not very connected with your partner. That might not be how it looks in a year. So our current activity creates our future, and our past activity created our present. And so I feel like right now you guys are doing a lot of work of thinking of what you want to manifest in the future. And I feel like your guides are very much listening to the things you want and very much paying attention to the manifestations you guys have put forward and that you guys have asked for. And I do feel like you guys are going to get granted a lot of these things. The only thing is Spirit is saying it is going to come with a bit of a loss of your old identity. We can see that with the Death card. And it's so interesting that the Death card came out underneath the Fool card. I didn't really compute that as I was shuffling how they were gonna like line up. But that's really interesting because I do feel like the ending that you guys are going to go through is going to precipitate the new energy that's coming in. It's going to precipitate the freshness, but that can't come in until we get rid of the old. Just like if we wanted to bring new, like redo our apartment, like redo our house, you couldn't just be like, you know what, I want to keep the old stuff and the new stuff, so I'm just gonna like stack my couches on top of each other. I don't want to I hate the idea of getting rid of like this coffee table, so I'm just going to stack everything one on one. And so there's just going to be the bottom coffee table and then the top layer coffee table, and same for all the other furniture. Like your house would look crazy. That's how like a hoarder house happens, right? Like, and you just get stacks of stuff, is because people can't let go and release the past. And so I feel like part and parcel of this new identity is a release and is an ending of certain things from the past. And I feel like a lot of you guys are letting go of things that didn't really make you that happy, but there is a sense of sadness about these things you're releasing. There is a part of you that is sad to see certain things go, and it may feel painful to have to release this. It may be something you're not really looking forward to, but I do feel like this is going to be really positive. And once you're able to release and embrace this new era in your life and take active steps towards it, because again, these cards can caution and kind of say that we take an active role in our life. Like we get to decide our life. It's not just necessarily necessarily fated, although we do have skywriting the fates here, but it's a kind of two-part process. We get to make an active choice, and then also spirit has a say in how everything goes. And so I feel like right now you should know that your mind is very powerful. The things you're deciding upon are very powerful. So it's not just about making your mind up with that though, but it's also about taking active steps. So if your guides start telling you, okay, I really need you to do this, and you should start this, or you should try this, or you should add this, don't just discount it or be like, yeah, I don't really feel like doing that, because it is, I feel like, divinely given to you from spirit. And with the Fool coming out, I do feel like you guys are going to have a little bit of a surprise. The Fool is ruled by Uranus, so it is going to be unexpected. It is going to seem like it comes out of the blue. And I think with skywriting the fates, I feel like there's something that's going to come in that is going to really kind of shock you. Like, it's going to shake you up. You're not going to see it happening. And if things have been really peaceful, like, it's going to really change. It's going to feel like a lot of upheaval, and you're going to have to kind of strap into this roller coaster and like enjoy the ride. But with Judgment coming out, I also feel like this is a positive path that you guys are on. Let's get some more guidance for pile 2. Spirit, can you give me more messages for pile 2 from their future self? Okay, so we got Deceit, Patience, Angel of Love. Can we get guidance from pile 2's future self, Spirit? And Archangel Michael for chakra. And let's get 2 more. 6th chakra, Archangel Metatron. And Indecision. So that's really interesting, especially that this came out above 2 of Wands, which has very similar imagery. So I do feel like you guys are going to be called to make this decision. Like, it's not just set in stone, whatever this path is for you. We can always choose to really go on the hero's journey, to really be bold with something, to really embrace this new journey for ourselves, or we can kind of choose to stay in safety and to just, sometimes, you know, there can be a warning in these readings about kind of staying in like dreamland, staying in a place where we imagine certain objectives or certain things happening, but we never really take action. Kind of like someone who imagines being a famous actress, but they never go to an audition, or they never take an acting class, or they never post anything on YouTube about their acting reel, or someone who wants to be a writer but they never actually write, or someone who, you know, you get the picture, is imagining these things but not taking action in the physical reality. So like, manifestation is that 2-part process. It's doing the work, it's imagining everything, imagining that you have it, imagining that it's happened for you, and then it's also taking the steps to actually bring it into the reality. And Spirit will show us how we can go about doing it, how we can get that thing we want. If it's a relationship, maybe it's going out to the bar and making sure we actually talk to people and making sure we actually interact with people. If it's something with career, we've got to like do something in that career realm, right? Like, if we want to be a writer but we never put any of our writing online, or never try to publish it, or never do anything with it, then chances are that it's probably not going to ever reach anyone else. It might be the best writing ever, but it's going to stay in our journal, or stay in our notebook, or wherever we have it, stay in our Word documents, you know? So if you do want to put something out there, this is like, you got to kind of work towards it. You got to take those active steps and actually make it happen. We don't want to be engaging in like self-deceit and not really being honest with ourselves. You know, the 6th chakra, or excuse me, 1st chakra, Archangel Michael, is all about taking action. You know, Michael is a very protective, strong, goal-oriented kind of energy, and very protective. And we need to take that energy from the lower chakras. Like, we're not, it's interesting, you got the 3rd eye chakra, and then you got the 1st chakra. So the base chakra, or the root chakra, I feel like, you know, it's this balance between, we want to like hopefully engage all chakras. So we don't want to be too existing on the spiritual plane and not taking action in reality, which is kind of the lower chakras. We want to make sure that that's balanced, that the energy goes up and down our chakral trail, and we're not just existing in one or the other. We're not just existing in the lower chakras and being only based in physical reality and only paying attention to kind of our lower instincts, but we also don't want to be divorced from that. We don't want to just be imagining things, never doing anything about it, it not happening in reality. We need to think about, did I take an active step towards my goal today? Like if I wanted to transform my body or something, if I wanted to build more muscle or whatever the case may be, did I go to the gym today? Did I actually work out, or did I just stay in bed all day? Because that's probably not the best way to get what we want, you know? If I do want to transform my body and I want to build more muscle, then I'm probably going to need to hit the gym, and I'm probably going to need to do some weights and or whatever else, some Pilates, something to build a little bit of muscle, right? And so even though it's really good to practice the manifestation, the imaging, and all of that, we also need to make sure that we're actually doing that, like I said, in physical reality. Let's get some of these cards as well. Spirit, can you give me guidance for pile 2? We got Sacred Pool, Follow the Leader, Ghostlands, Rock Bottom, and Bone Collector. So there's an interesting energy here also with getting rid of past like negative adaptations. We got this card, a Magician's Sword, Confidence in Your Magic, and Bone Collector. And both of these cards can relate to making sure that we're like cutting ties or cutting away past negative things that might have attached themselves to us, whether that's sometimes we adapt negatively to different situations. Like maybe we have parents who are really like pessimistic, or parents who always have something negative to say, or parents who aren't supportive of us, and we integrate that into our mind. We start thinking like, I'm not that smart, or, you know, there's no way for me to do that, or there's no chance for me to achieve this dream, I'm not good enough, or whatever. Or maybe it's other things, like maybe we had a trauma happen and maybe something small triggers us emotionally and brings us back to that place and makes it really hard for us to like get work done or whatever. That's why it's really important to just go into our psyche and make sure that we're kind of fishing out those negative adaptations. We're going through there and doing the work, clearing that out, and addressing the negative side of ourselves as well as the positive sides. So if we have a history of like not finishing our work or procrastinating or whatever, then we need to kind of try to figure out, why is that? Why do I procrastinate? Why am I afraid of it? Am I afraid of what someone is going to think? Am I afraid of not being perfect? If so, maybe I'll make it a ritual or a practice to like write something. Like maybe you are procrastinating on writing something. So then it's like, let me make it a ritual or a practice to write something every day for 10 minutes and just have it saved and be okay with it. And I'm not going to over edit it. I'm not going to do anything with it. I'm just going to like have it, or even post it somewhere or something, just to get into that practice of like pushing through the perfectionism, pushing through that instinct that you might have to overanalyze, to be perfect, to feel like it's not good enough. Just making that into almost like, there's like a treatment for certain phobias that's like exposure therapy. So if you have a fear of height, then you go climb the tallest structure you can, and you just stand up there just to get used to it. And the next day you climb something even higher, and the next day you go even higher. And even if you have to start only with like 1 story above ground and go up to like the 2nd story, then that's fine. And maybe you can work your way up to being at the top of like a skyscraper. But doing those things one at a time and confronting it is that first step. Or maybe you have arachnophobia and it's an issue of like needing to, you know, just be near. I think they start it with like being in the same room as a spider, across the room. Then you get closer, then you get closer, then you get closer, and you work your way up until you're actually able to hold the spider in your hand. And that's a really effective treatment for arachnophobia. And we can do that in our own life, whether it's dealing with a negative adaptation. Maybe we have a tendency to like put off something we don't want to do. Like maybe we don't want to clean our apartment, so we end up doing a bunch of other random things, going online, just kind of wasting time. So if you hate cleaning, maybe it's a practice to be like, okay, I'm only going to clean for 2 minutes. I'm going to set that as an intention. I'm going to cut myself off after. And in 2 minutes, we washed a couple dishes and they're not as piled up in the sink. And then we stop ourselves and then we're proud of ourselves and we feel more competent. Or maybe it's just making the bed and that's all we do that day, but we set that as like a goal. We congratulate ourselves and we can work our way up to like doing it really intensely and being able to clean our whole house and make it spotless. But I feel like for you guys, there's things you kind of need to go into in your own subconscious and root out the problems and root out the negative tendencies or the procrastination or the whatever, or it might be with some of you guys in pile 2, it might be a tendency to kind of distract yourself or live in like a fantasy world or live in like the astral plane and not in the physical reality. And it's good to manifest that way. It's good to have visions and ideas and dreams of what we want to bring forth or how we want to live our life, but also we need to take steps, like I said, in physical reality to bring that into existence, to make it a reality, not just a dream, to make it something that we can touch and is tangible, not just an idea floating in our head. So I feel like for you guys, there might be work that you're going to have to do to achieve this, but like I said, I actually am feeling like things are going to pick up for you guys, pile 2, within the next few months or so. I feel like if you're able to take action on this, that your guides are very supportive of you with this, and that you're going to be able to see a breakthrough, see things start happening within the next few months. And you're going to see a lot more forward momentum and trajectories on this, but it's like you've got to take that risk, put yourself out there. You know, one of the things about the Fool card is he's called a fool for a reason, and it's one of the most sacred, in my opinion, of the tarot cards. I mean, they're all sacred, but I love the Fool, and it's interesting that it's the only major arcana showing someone in motion other than the world. So there's a lot of people in motion in the minor arcana, but of the major arcana, it's pretty much these frozen images, except for the Fool and then the Dancer on the World card. And so that's interesting because the World is the final card. It's the card of completion. And the Fool card is the first card, the card of nothingness, because it hasn't happened yet. It's at 0, but they're mirrored, and that's for a reason. It's because all the energy contained within the Fool card, that amazing sacred act of completion of like, we did it, yes, it's done, is actually contained within the Fool card itself. And the Fool is that sacred number of 0, showing endless, unlimited potential, limitless potential that can literally be anything, and that all the act you need to contain inside of it is within that little egg of the 0 that is super sacred. And I feel like with you guys, there's so much potential here for you to start something brand new, something really special. But it also, the Fool card shows someone walking off a cliff. And it also shows someone that society would say is like a fool, is an idiot, is kind of like, what are you doing? And there's an element here where you guys are going to have to take that risk. You're going to have to push yourself a little bit here. You're going to have to maybe do something that other people might be like, what are you doing? That's kind of weird. What are you up to? I don't understand what you're doing. And it might feel a little scary for you. It definitely might be taking you outside of your comfort zone a little bit, pushing you outside of what you're used to. But I feel like this has so much positive potential for you to achieve your wildest dreams. You just have to be willing to, like I said, take those dreams from the astral plane, because I feel like you guys are really good at imagining these scenarios, creating these manifestations. But let's bring it into the real world. Let's make it actually happen. Let's not just dream it, let's do it. You know, that's why I love the quote from Migos, put my mind on it, then I put my grind on it, because it starts with putting your mind on it, right? And then step 2 is putting your grind on it. I feel like you guys have done a great job of putting your mind on it, but now it's time to add in the grind, and it's time to actually bring it into, like I said, physical reality. Start taking steps about it. We all know that person that will tell us like, oh, I'm doing this, but it never actually happens, right? They're like, oh yeah, I'm traveling to Iceland, I'm really excited, but it's like, oh, did you book the ticket? That's so cool. no, well, no, I'm going later. I'm gonna figure out everything. And they never end up going. Or like, yeah, I'm gonna write this book, but they never actually write it. Or I'm gonna, I think I'm gonna start this company, but they never start it, And so it's a risk to do that. It's a risk to actually kind of take that leap and actually start on something. But I feel like there's so much potential there. And I feel like that's the path for you guys to really, really improve your life. I love the path on this. And it's interesting, there's a path on this rock bottom as well. But to me, I feel like this is a path out of that. And this path is going to take you somewhere you really want and maybe even transform you into a bit of a leader. It's a very anointed path. So like, listen to those dreams, visions that your guides have given you. You've got the manifestation down, but let's make this happen. And I do feel like if you guys take active steps on it, it's going to be able to really transform and blossom within the next few months, like I said. And then I feel like the stagnant energy is going to kind of end and you're going to have a lot more activity and a lot of exciting things going on. So that is what I have for you guys. Pile 2. I really hope it resonated. Let me know if it did in the comments. I would love to know if you guys are working on something. If you want to keep it close to the vest, you don't have to tell me exactly what it is, but I am curious. So if you feel like sharing, I would love to hear it. So please let me know, you guys, what this is that you have going on, or if you do feel like things have been a little stagnant and you're ready to bring things into reality, let me know. Also, make sure to hit the like button, hit the thumbs up, and make sure to subscribe and turn those notifications on so you can find out as soon as I post. And if you would like to see more of my readings, then head on over to my Patreon, where I post all my additional readings about life, love, spirituality, relocation, all different kinds of topics. Over 35 existing readings, and I just posted one yesterday that's all about your career and divine messages about your destiny in this lifetime. So it's a really long and intense career reading. So if you're interested in that, head to the link in my description and underneath the timestamps in the comments. And like I said, when you do sign up, you get access to all my existing readings, and new ones go up all the time. We vote on new ones as well and suggest new ones. So I would love to have you guys there joining our little party over at Patreon. And if you guys would like to get a private one-on-one reading with me, you can also get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and get a half hour or a full hour session with me about whatever topic you would like to ask me, or just have me openly channel. You get to kind of pick how the reading goes. So if you'd like to get that, the website is briarrosetarot.com, and the link is in my description for that as well. You can do a pre-recorded reading or a live one-on-one session with me, and I'd love to do a reading for you. So with all of that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I am sending you so much love and light, and I will see you guys very soon in another reading. Take care, guys. Bye. Hey Pile 3, welcome to your reading. So if you guys picked this melon rind, this is going to be your reading. So let's get right into the cards. You guys got Sky Dancer's Surrender, Will o' the Wisp, Treasures Hidden in the Shadows, Jeweled Web Connectivity, and Lost in Space, Needing Direction. So the first thing I'm getting is, for some of you guys, you're dealing with a very difficult person or situation, and maybe you're feeling really stuck in this situation, or almost like it's unavoidable for you to deal with this. Maybe it's a situation where like you don't have the option to leave. Like maybe you're in a certain college class with a certain professor and he's really harsh on you and doesn't seem to like you. Or maybe it's like a parent or a family member that you're dealing with. And I just felt this wave of anxiety hit me. So I feel like for some of you guys, this situation is causing you a lot of anxiety. I'm actually like feeling like almost trouble breathing in my throat. Like it feels like there's so much anxiety around this. Like you guys are just feeling super stuck. Like you can't get out of it. Like you don't know why you're having to go through this. And maybe your mind is going through a million circumstances of like, okay, how do I get out of this? Or maybe it's not even that serious, but it's just a difficult situation where maybe you feel like you don't have the situation you would want, whether it's you don't have enough money, like enough money that you would want, or you're not happy with your relationship, or there's just a lot of difficulty that seems to be going around right now for you. And I feel like the message coming through is that you are growing through this situation in deeper ways than you realize. So maybe right now it feels like it's a really negative situation, all negative, all bad. And it's not to say that like, hey, it's not that bad. This person isn't so bad. It's not to invalidate the reality of the situation, but it is to say that we grow through all different kinds of situations. And sometimes something that might seem like an obstacle or a bad thing, or something that even is genuinely put in your life to take you out. Like maybe this person really is trying to gun for you, hates you, and is trying to be as horrible as possible to you. But the thing is, that's why I love the Wheel of Fortune. That's why I love, the mystical cards that talk about fate and destiny, because it's like you might try that, but spirit might use it to your advantage. Someone might be trying to take you out. Someone might be trying to undermine you or make you look stupid or make you look bad or invalidate you. But spirit has the ultimate saying power. And originally, like the Wheel of Fortune card came out to talk, or was based around this story of like a king who had this dream and this vision of a wheel of fortune and him being crushed underneath the wheel. And the point is that we can see that even people who seem to have all this power, people who seem to have this incredible like position or status or everything set in their life, they can go through major misfortunes and it can be changed and reversed like that. And same with people who might seem very unfortunate. Sometimes maybe there's someone who's completely broken in debt and they win the lottery, or they have a business idea that, goes crazy, or they get a new job and things are just really stable. Like how something is now isn't necessarily how something is going to be in the future. And that's why I love that, is like destiny, fate can be changed at any time. And I feel like for you guys, what these people or persons or situation that might be super hard, and again, not invalidating that, but it might be used for your, your destiny, your uprising, your positive destiny, like something that was supposed to be used against you is going to be used to bless you. What spirit is bringing to my mind is the story of Joseph from, I think, the Old Testament. I'm not like a biblical expert, but where he was like his father's favorite. His father loved him and I think gave him this amazing coat. That's why we have the play Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat. So anyway, his father was like obsessed with him. He was his favorite, and he was supposed to like have this status because it was his father's favorite, so maybe he would inherit like the family business or something. But his brothers got super jealous of that, and they hated the fact that Joseph was like exceptional. So what they did was they trapped him and sold him off to this people passing by as a slave. So they turned him into a slave. So he went from being like in this powerful family and like his father's favorite to being a slave. Then they go over to Egypt and he's toiling away as a slave. And I think he might have been thrown into a ditch or something like that. I don't know the exact story. Obviously, I'm not a biblical expert, but the point is somehow he gets into the royal family household, again, still working as a slave, but he had these incredible spiritual gifts. And anyway, so the king was looking for someone to interpret his dreams, and someone was like, oh, Joseph's good at that. So he starts interpreting dreams for the king, and all of it's super accurate. And then the king decides he wants to make him like this elevated status and gives him this position that's basically the most powerful in all of Egypt. Obviously, Egypt at the time being like this hugely powerful empire with so much wealth and abundance. And so what his family did, which was trying to undermine him, hoping that his destiny was going to end and that he was going to be reduced in status, actually was the thing that elevated him to the highest position in the land that he could never have achieved in any other way, right? Like even if he was his father's favorite, he would never be, working with the king. And so, and like the king having his complete and total trust in him and having this amazing position. And so my point is for you guys is, even though I feel like this situation might not seem automatically like it's amazing and like it's a blessing. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's through those things that someone meant to break you, meant to take you down, meant to hurt you with, that we find ourselves doing the most growth. And sometimes it's not even just inner growth, but it's positioning us in the right position. It's, the one opportunity that we missed out on, and then the next day, because we didn't take the other opportunity, we have the option to do this, and that thing is what is the major blessing. We can never really predict those things because some of that is left up to God. Some of those things are just not for us to know or not for us to expect or try to anticipate. And that's why I love Sky Dancer Surrender, because that kind of talks about panning out and taking like a bird's eye view of it and just surrendering to the situation, just surrendering to like, yeah, I don't really have the power here, but you know what? I trust that I'm protected and I'm okay. Sometimes it's not even that situation is like horribly bad or really scary, but we just don't feel like we have control. And sometimes that can be frustrating. But if we can allow that to make the magic happen, it's kind of like sometimes when you're at a restaurant, you don't know what they're doing back in the kitchen. They could be doing something crazy for all we know, right? But we trust that if you ordered like spaghetti carbonara, that you're going to actually get that and it's going to come out and be all creamy and gooey and delicious. You trust that if you ordered it, that it's going to be delivered in the right way. And sometimes you have to release that control. You can't be meddling with everything, even though you might have the instinct to it. And maybe in that moment, you might be like, I don't really like this situation. I don't like how it's going. But if you're stuck in it, you're probably stuck in it for a reason. And of course, if you have the power to leave, I'm not saying you shouldn't, but sometimes we're taken through something for a reason, and what might seem like it was sent against us, and maybe it was, is actually going to be used to bless us. So I feel like in a way you guys should just understand that that's what's going on, and you should kind of relax into this situation. Like it's like if you knew that you don't have any power, then it's like, why stress about it? You know what I mean? Just go with the flow of it. Just trust that like spirit has control. I'm hearing Jesus take the wheel, and it's like that song by Carrie Underwood, Jesus take the wheel. So like, let spirit take over, let spirit deal with it. Sometimes when we don't have any control, that's like the most empowering thing. It's just like, okay, well, God's taking over now, so I guess that's all I can do. I'm just going to sit back and relax, And I feel like for you guys, that's what your guides want you to know right now is like, I feel like you're going to come out of this situation okay. And sometimes it's just a matter of kind of patience, biding our time, getting ourselves in the good headspace, because I think Joseph was working as a slave for years before he was moved into the royal family. So he could have gotten really down in the dumps about that and been like, this is BS, screw my brothers, this is horrible. But because he was a spiritual, exalted, had a higher vibe mindset about it, he stayed patient, trusted spirit, and of course that ended up being his salvation and allowing him to ascend to this incredible position that no one could have ever dreamed of. So sometimes it's just about having patience in the moment and trusting your guides that whatever they're putting you through, it is for a reason. Speaking of, we got the star card. That definitely talks about that. We also got the moon card, 8 of Swords, the Emperor, Page of Swords, and the 9 of Swords reversed. So that's interesting. We got the 9 of Wands reversed, and we got them on top of each other, the 8 and 9 of Wands. But, okay, so the first thing being the star card that I guess we'll talk about is the star card does come after the death card, and it is one of, I think most people would say, one of the most positive cards in the major arcana. Very, very positive, and also talking about destiny to a certain extent, and also keeping positive and keeping your eyes on the prize, right? Like in the moment, you could get really down in the dumps about something, but the star card is showing that you have to kind of follow your star. So back in the day, how people would navigate is they would navigate with the stars, and that's how I think The wise men, speaking of Christmas, I don't know why there's so much religious stuff coming up in this reading, but it is coming up to Christmas, and the wise men found Jesus in his manger by following the star, right? And that guided them. And that's why we put a star on top of the Christmas tree, is because it's the star that they went after. That's how they used to navigate back then, and that's how they used to find the manger. And so sometimes, they could have been like really upset about like, oh God, we have to go so far. We have to go through this like countryside and we don't know where we are. And like, this stinks that we're having to pass through this town. It's so run down. Like, I mean, I don't know what was on their mind, but probably not wanting to travel in the middle of December, right? On like a donkey. I think that's what they rode, right? Or whatever, but I'm sure it's hard to walk that far just following some kind of a star. But they did that. They had the faith. And that's another thing that I feel like you're being called to do, is to kind of believe in miracles and to believe that something really special can happen for you. With the moon card, it could show that this situation is being veiled right now and you're not supposed to fully understand it. You're not supposed to fully get what's going on and fully process everything. The moon card is ruled by Pisces, and Pisces can have to do with Neptune and delusion. And of course, the moon itself is also about things being veiled. It's not like the sun that shows everything in bright light. If you've ever been out in like the countryside where there's only a bright full moon, it's amazing how you can actually see just by the full moon alone, but you only get glimpses. You only get to see like a sliver of like the outline of something, and you don't get to see the detail. You only get to see like, okay, that's landing on that. So that's a rock and that's a tree, and you can see things and your eyes adjust, but you can't see it in full detail. You can only see the gist of it. You can only see the main focus of it. Like, okay, that's a large tree, and you don't get to see the colors of the leaves or the little lines on the bark, but it's a tree. And sometimes that's like what we're being called to do, is go by faith, not to know everything, not to know the full picture, not to see how everything is going to work out or to get the full download of everything that's happening, but to trust that process and to make sure that we're not kind of like discounting it or just expecting everything to be spelled out perfectly for us, like trusting that download, trusting that instinct. Like I said, when the wise men got that download to probably travel across the, however far, I don't know, travel across the land to like have a newborn baby born in a manger, it probably sounded pretty crazy. But of course, it all was worth it. And again, it's coming up to Christmas, so maybe that's why this story is coming out. But I feel like sometimes we've got to trust that star. We don't get to know exactly the details. We don't get to see all the impact it's going to have. We don't get to see how everything is going to play out, but we have to trust in that moment and in that process, and that things are aligning for our higher destiny and for our higher good. And what's interesting is the star card is followed by the moon card in the major arcana process. So we kind of go from the star, which is emerging after the tower, and is emerging after a loss. We go from the star and then we go to the star, which is kind of a renewed hope. And then we go into the kind of strange, weird territory of the moon. So it's like things seem really odd. Moon, how it translates to in like Latin is like luna, right? And then that's the word we use for like lunacy, craziness. And a lot of things have been reported at the time of the full moon, like crimes go up, crazy things happen. We have always recognized that there's this power to the moon that is kind of not understandable by human mind, by logic. That's and might seem even crazy at times. And sometimes when we're doing something really cool and special, no one else is going to get it. No one else is going to give you that confirmation, that backup that we might want of like, hey, this is awesome, yay, because they probably don't get it themselves. They don't necessarily hear that download, just like when we get the call to do something for our calling, right? No one else can hear who's on the phone. Like someone might be even nearby or be close to us, and we can even recall to them what was happening on the phone line or what someone said, but they don't actually get to hear it themselves. We're the only ones who can hear that. So I do feel like there's a little bit of a call for you guys to take a risk with this. Like, there's a boldness that I feel like your guides are putting out for you. We did get the Eight of Wands, and that is a card that can talk about a bunch of things, one being things happening really quickly, and it can also talk about kind of like sustained effort, and also that things are already working for you. Like, there's a process already happening, and that we just kind of, we're closer than we might think, and things might be going to very rapidly happen. But I feel like a lot of you guys, there's some kind of fated aspect here that has already been put in the works. And I am feeling like the Emperor and the Page of Swords might be connected, and it might have to do with a difficult male figure in your life. Or maybe this is a difficult male figure like a father or an overbearing teacher or even a boyfriend. And it could be an overbearing female, totally. So if that's what comes to mind. But I also feel like this person might have been in your ear or just undermined your confidence, or they might be the kind of person that everything you say they think is kind of stupid, or they're like, that's dumb. There might be a vibe of you kind of having to like justify yourself to them all the time, defend yourself to them all the time, and feeling like you're on the back foot when it comes to them, feeling like they don't get you and they kind of think you're stupid. And I feel like it's like, let them think you're stupid. You know, my saying that I always say that I got from, I think it was Kanye who said it first, or it was in, at least that's when I heard it, was his song with T-Pain, Good Life, where they say, and if they hate, then let them hate and watch the money pile up, you know? And that's exactly how it is. It's like, people are going to hate whenever you're doing something special, cool, different. And I love that saying, because this scammer pretending to be me, which I will never DM anyone, by the way, I mean, on Instagram, saying I feel called to give them a reading and contact me on WhatsApp. You know, everyone knows they can book through my website, but they messaged someone, they were trying to like scam their way into that person giving them money, and they said, and if they hate, and the person couldn't fill out the rest, which is, then let them hate and watch the money pile up. So I was like, I love that that's the quote that people remember from me. But it's so true, and that's why I say it, is because whenever you're doing something really special, you're gonna have people who don't get it. You're gonna have people that think you're foolish. That's why we have the Fool card starting off the whole major arcana, and it's such a powerful, impactful card. And actually, that is ruled by Uranus, and the Star card is ruled by Aquarius. So there's some heavy Aquarius energy coming through, and that's an energy all about unexpectedness, all about something that comes out of the blue that you don't expect, that just seems like it's coming from left field, something that you wouldn't be able to anticipate or expect, something that just seems like it's coming from nowhere, you know? And I feel like for you guys, it's like you might feel trapped in this situation, but it will lift at the right time, and it might have magic happen at the right time. Like I was saying about Joseph, he's a slave for years, right? And then they see him, or he somehow gets into that royal household, and then they're like, oh yeah, he interprets dreams, and next thing he knows, his whole life has changed, and he's this powerful figure. He goes from like slave to most powerful guy in the land, and it happens within like, what, a night? So I mean, that's how fast some of these divine things can happen. And I feel like your guides are just calling on you to trust right now in this moment. So let me get some of these cards as well. Spirit, can you please give me guidance for pile 3? Pile 3, what do they need to know right now? Flying. Dry desert. Spark. Yeah, because I loved your energy, pile 3. Honestly, I feel like you guys are so in strength. I feel like you guys are very imaginative, pure souls. You have these maybe dreams that you're working on, or visions, or things that you're trying to make happen, but I feel like you have not lost your gentle, kind, loving spirit. And I do feel like it's going to take off in the right time, and your guides want you to know not to let anyone who's judgmental, nasty, or coming from a low vibrational place to take away this beautiful inner soul and inner core that you have of joy, of love, of happiness, of high vibrational, like silliness I almost feel like you guys are giving off, where I feel like you can just get in like a silly mood and kind of like make little jokes to yourself and laugh to yourself. And that beautiful spark, that beautiful energy and soul that is you, don't let this person who might be judgmental or crazy or nasty take that away from you. That is a very beautiful part of you that your guides are very happy with. And the last thing they want is for you to let some crusty old person take that away from you. Someone who might be coming from a place of like deeply accumulated trauma that they never worked through themselves, that they never took the time to like undo and do the shadow work, and now they're mad because you're so happy and joyful. And so you definitely shouldn't let that seep into your consciousness. You should stay your beautiful, special self. And you know, I think it's like someone was making this post the other day about like, it's interesting that you can take a bottle of water, right? And you can sell it or you can have it at a convenience store and sell it for like 80 cents or something. And then you can take that same bottle of water and sell it at like a stadium during like a football game for like, I don't know, $10. Or you can go, you know, be selling it in the middle of like a city and just sell it out of like a cooler or something on a really hot day in the middle of August for like at least $5 or something. Or if people are really stuck in traffic and really desperate, maybe $15, you know, and this is like just a bottle of water, but it's wildly variable what you can price it at. And that's the thing, is sometimes where we're planted in that moment, people don't necessarily value us, but that bottle of water isn't worth anything less. Or another example would be something like a diamond ring. When you want to go to like the best jeweler and buy that, it's going to be really expensive. After you've bought it and after you've worn it, you're gonna have to if you want to resell it, you could sell it online for like a little bit less, like maybe, I don't know, 60% or 70%. I'm not an expert. Depending on if it appreciated value, maybe for some reason it's like suddenly a really in demand stone or something, you could maybe even sell it for more. But if you're like really desperate and you're selling it, like you need to sell it quick and you have to go to a pawn shop, you're probably going to only be able to sell it for like a fraction. And my point is that sometimes other people aren't going to recognize our value. Sometimes other people aren't going to see the beautiful, special soul inside of us that our spirit guides, God, you know, our soul team and soul tribe sees in us. But that doesn't make us any less worthy or any less special. Sometimes it just means that this is not your audience. This is not your vibe. This is not the people that are going to get you. And that's okay, because you will be aligned with people who do get you in the future. And if we can keep that positivity and stay close to our deepest soul version of ourselves, and we can understand that a lot of people are coming from a place of feeling insecure themselves. A lot of people feel less than. A lot of people feel like they're not good enough, and you might provoke a lot of jealousy in them because you're shining brightly. With the star card, you guys might have like a star energy as well, and you might be someone that naturally attracts a lot of attention, has that magical, special sparkle about you, that je ne sais quoi, as the French say, that so many people wish they could have. And you might be being hated on because of that. Not because you're less than, but because you're more than, because these people wish they had what you had. And it's really important. That's why it's so important to have this mentality where you don't just process events as they're happening and like take them in of like, well, that person was rude to me. It must be because I'm horrible and I suck. Or getting super agitated like, oh, so that person was rude to me, well, screw them, and I blah blah blah, and you know what, I'm so mad about this. But just to be like, that person was rude to me, you know, they're probably working through a lot of trauma, or maybe it's because I look especially good today. Love it. Anyway, moving on, and not even giving it any energy other than taking whatever positive we can out of it for ourselves. And this is where I say sometimes, like, we're meant to go through these difficult times. We're meant to deal with difficult people because we're growing from it. I always have mentioned, not always, but a couple times, that I had a summer where Mars was just stuck transiting in my first house. It was like in Aquarius and Pisces, and then it retrograded back, and it was there the whole summer. It was there for like 6 months. So I had Mars in my first house for like a good 6 months, or I don't know if it was full 6 months, but it was a while. And that was the craziest summer. I had people acting so crazy to me. Like, I had major respect for people now with Mars in the first house, because I was like, damn, dealing with this is really annoying. And wow, like the audacity of some people, I never realized it before. And also I would get more heated having Mars there, like something that maybe in the past I'd be like, whatever, it would like hit me like, excuse me, that was really rude. But I feel like I grew so much that summer, and I really learned because it kept happening. Like it kept happening. That's, I just like go to check out, buy something at a store, and the person at the counter would be like crazy rude to me. Or I would go to, drive, and I couldn't be driving like for like, 10 minutes without like 8 people cutting me off. It was just constant, and it was really exhausting to me, but I actually grew the most. And I learned to not even take it on, not even like absorb it, not even let it bother me or get me agitated or even care. I just was like, okay, so this is happening. Mars is in my first house. I guess this is what's going on. And this says more about this person than it ever did about me. And I also learned to stand up for myself a little bit better, I think, just because it was that lesson that kept repeating. And as I always like to say, and I got this from Joel Osteen, but he always tells this joke, like, if you don't pass the test and learn the lesson the first time, the good news is you get to take it again. And I just think that's really funny. Like, it is true. Like sometimes we're like, can I just stop learning this lesson? I just want to be done. I just want to skip this grade. But that's not how spirit works. We just have to keep learning this until we can learn to manage it and master it. And honestly, I'm so glad that I did have to keep learning that lesson, because now if someone's rude to me, I'm really at a place where, like, I mean, knock wood, I say that now, but of course it can be frustrating when this happens. But for the most part, when someone's rude to me, I'm just able to just be like, whatever, and not even really think about it, and just reroute my mind to something else. Just reroute my mind to like something positive or something I'm looking forward to. And that takes a lot of practice. It's kind of like a muscle. It takes time to be able to just fish your mind out and prevent yourself, especially because I'm a Cancer moon. So I can get opposite Mars. So I can get like in my feels about something. And it's a really good practice to just be like, nope, not even going to go there. Just going to stay positive. Okay, I'm really looking forward to this tonight. I can't wait to see this friend. And I wonder what they're going to say about that. And then I have this. I should go shopping for that. And just keeping your mind off it, not even letting yourself get to that place. So whatever this is for you, my point is that these difficult times often teach us the greatest lessons. And I feel like you guys are learning really deep lessons through this time. So this is going to be a super positive change in your life. It is going to work for your benefit, not for your negative. And I feel like you guys are being prepared for something really amazing during this time. And it's something that you should be excited about. Like, get excited about this. And I think you guys have such a special energy. Like I said, you have the star energy. So there's something very, very special about you guys. And that always is going to bring in haters, but it also brings in a lot of rewards. So yeah, I think, like I said, Joseph, he was always special. That's why his siblings hated him. And sometimes when we are special, when we have something cool about us, it brings in the haters, the low vibrationals, the nasties, the dusties. But you know what? I feel like you guys are going to persevere and surpass all of this, and you're going to look back at this and be like, oh yeah, that was kind of a funny time in my life. Just like I can look back at that summer and just laugh about some of the crazy stuff that happened. I can laugh now because obviously it doesn't bother me, because it's in the past, and that's how you're going to feel in the future. So get that perspective for yourself. Like, you're not going to be in this moment forever. It's just a passing moment in time. So anyway, I really hope that helped, guys. Let me know how it resonated in the comments. Let me know if you are having someone come against you, or someone being really negative, being a hater to you, or this is just a difficult time you're going through, or you do feel like you're getting a lot of negative attention or just attention in general and some jealousy. Let me know, because I'm very curious about this pile. So I would love to know your thoughts, and make sure to hit the thumbs up button. Give this reading a like if it did resonate, and subscribe. I would love to have you guys here. And make sure to turn on notifications so you can find out as soon as I post. And if you would like to see more of my readings, then make sure to head on over to my Patreon, where I post all my additional readings. You'll get access to over 35 readings about life, love, spirituality, relocation, all different kinds of topics. I just posted yesterday a reading all about what is happening with your career and your destiny in this life. So it's a really deep, intense, long reading about career, and I really liked that one. I felt like we got some really deep answers, and lessons from spirit. So definitely check that out. The link for that is in my description and in the comments as well. And like I said, as soon as you sign up, you get access to all of my existing readings, and we also vote on new readings, suggest new readings. So there's new stuff going up all the time. So like I said, Patreon link in my description. And also, if you guys would like a private reading from me, you can head on over to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and get a half hour or a full hour session with me. Ask me whatever questions you would like, or just have me openly channel. So if you want to know about a specific situation, we can do that. Or if you want me to openly channel, we can do that as well. And you can get a pre-recorded reading or have a live reading with me. You get to kind of decide. So if you would like to do that, then like I said, head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and get one of those. So that's about all I have to say, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I am sending you so much love and light, and I will see you guys very soon in another reading. Take care, guys. Bye. Hey Pile 4, welcome to your reading. So if you guys pick these little clementines, this is going to be your reading. So you guys got Perfect Storm, the courage to step into life, Joyful Muse, Inspiration, Cosmic Womb, the Divine Feminine, in a Tidy House, Clarity and Organization. So what's coming to my mind right away for you guys is that you have a beautiful creative project that you're wanting to put out there in the world, and your guides want you to know that it is good enough. Whatever this thing is that you're thinking of doing or starting or undertaking, that you are good enough at it, and that it is a really worthy endeavor, and it's something that you should put your energy into. It's something that you should put time and effort into, and not be afraid to hold it back from the world. Because I feel like for some of you guys, you are afraid to put it out there, to really let it like circulate, let people see it, let people experience with it. Maybe you're afraid of looking dumb or stupid, but I feel like whatever this is, you are really gifted in this area. And whatever this is, it is a divine gift and download from spirit that they have put in your heart and given to you. And it is something you are intended to use and to share with the world, with other people. And actually, you might be surprised by how much people benefit from this and how much people really enjoy it. Because I feel like whatever it is, you are kind of channeling. And that is something that happens when we do creative projects, whatever that might be, whether it's, writing music or writing a regular story or making a YouTube video or cooking or literally anything creative, sewing, embroidery. I feel like there's something really special about what you're doing that needs to be shared, and you might be surprised by how much people benefit from it. You might be surprised that people really love it. And honestly, what I'm also getting is like, even if it starts off slow, or even if there's time for it to build to the kind of volume you want of people paying attention to it, that you might be surprised by the influence it's having on others. You might be surprised that maybe it only reaches a small group of people, but those people love it and are obsessed with it. And maybe they take lessons from it that's so special and important to them. And then they, put it in their work, and then something they do blows up, and then it's influenced by you. It's kind of like the butterfly effect. So much of the time, the things we do, we might not even realize the effect it has on someone else. We might just do it and never realize that that person is thinking of us, or that that person was highly influenced by us. Like, I can think of times when, a stranger has been really nice to me, and how much of an emotional effect it had on me. Maybe, like I mentioned like a while ago, I was just on a road trip and I had forgotten my debit card in the car. So I ran in to get like a water and didn't have anything to pay for it with. So I run back out to my car, and I had like tossed my card, of course, in my front seat, and it was like, took me a minute to even find it. And so when I come back out, or it was, I guess I usually toss it in my front seat. I'm making a habit of putting it back in my wallet, but I had like put it in the side little divot in my car. Anyway, I love being ADHD and forgetting where I put everything. And by the time I came back in, the lady was like, "Oh, the guy behind you paid for your drink." And I just thought that was so nice. I don't know what it was, but it just hit me. Like, I was like, oh my God, that was so kind of that guy. And of course, I'm sure he probably didn't even think twice about that, or it didn't really affect him that much, but to me it really had an effect on me. Like, it made me emotional at the time, just that he was so nice that he would do that, even though it was something really small. And I feel like for you guys, you might not realize that whatever you're putting out there, like, it can bring joy, happiness, inspiration to people, and you might not ever get that confirmation, but I do feel like whatever this is, it has the potential to really leave a mark on people. I'm also thinking of bands that have become really big, and sometimes when they list their list of influences for music, they'll list off like obscure names that you haven't heard of. And maybe there are certain bands that are known as like, they never really hit the big time, they never really became a household name, but they've inspired a list of bands that became really huge. And we never know this kind of domino effect our work can have. Or maybe you put out some kind of funny video on TikTok and you don't really realize it, but like the people who do watch it, they think it's so funny and they really love it, and it inspires them to do something funny. Like, you don't know the effect you're having on anyone else. All you can do is put your work out there and then trust spirit to do the rest. Trust it to align with the right people. But I feel like there's something very powerful about the work you guys are doing, and spirit is reminding you to carve some time out of your life for this, because I feel like for some of you guys, you might feel like this is indulgent. Like, maybe it's like you love to cook and you love to be at home and whip up recipes, and there's a part of you that's like, I need to really stop. Maybe I'm trying to eat healthier. I shouldn't be whipping up cakes this Christmas. Or maybe you're like, I just shouldn't spend, my favorite thing to do is spend Sunday like plodding around my house and just kind of puttering around and whipping up different foods and baking cookies. But you know what, I need to like actually get some work done, so I'm not going to spend a lazy Sunday doing that. But I feel like this is, exactly what you should be doing. There is a lot of beauty here, there is a lot of potential here. Or maybe you're like, oh, I love to paint in my meantime, but like, what am I going to do with the paintings? It's a waste of money to buy paints, it's a waste of time, I keep spending all this time on my paintings. And you don't realize that there's a lot of fruitfulness here. Like, we got Cosmic Womb, the Divine Feminine, and that is a card all about something that's ready to be born, something that's already been gestating and is already like kind of formed. It hasn't come out yet, just like a pregnant lady, like, she hasn't given birth to the baby yet, but the baby's there. You know what I mean? Like no one would, if a pregnant lady was like, yeah, I have a baby, and my stomach is really huge and I'm gonna have a baby in like 4 months or whatever. I don't know, I guess she's not showing by 5 months always, but like, in a month I'm gonna have a baby. You wouldn't be like, you're crazy, oh my god, you're delusional, you're gonna have a baby? You don't have a baby. You don't have a baby at all. I don't see a baby near you, because it's in her belly. It's not out there yet, but it's ready to go. And I feel like for you guys, whatever this project is, there's a lot of power within it. There's a lot of potential. There's a lot of potential for some of you guys to even make a living off whatever this is. Whatever endeavor that I feel like spirit has put in your heart, it has the potential for so much growth, so much power. And I feel like your guide just wants you to treat it kind of like with respect. And there's a part of you that thinks it's really indulgent and like, oh, it's a waste of my time, but I just feel called to do it. Anytime you feel really called to do something and it's like, it doesn't make sense, and you're kind of like, why am I spending my time on this? This doesn't benefit me. This is not for me. That is something that comes from spirit. That's why like the magician shows the wand pointing to the sky. And the wand is a card of power. The wand is not just like chill, gentle energy. The wand and then the ace of wands is kind of sometimes like an obsession, or just this feeling, this vibe of like, I have to do it, I need to do this. Kind of like when you really have a crush on someone, and even if people are like, oh, that guy's kind of a jerk, or you're like, I don't know him at all, like someone might try to talk you out of it, but you're like, yeah, I know, yeah, I'm not into him, but you still have a crush on him, you still really like him. Or something like where you just feel impelled, you just feel like this energy inside you to like go work out. Like if you've ever had so much energy and you're just like, I just need to go for a run. Or maybe you want to start a creative project, or you have this idea for a story, and next thing you know, you're spending all night long just typing nonstop and you can barely stop. Those are things, that's why the wand in the magician is pointed up to the sky. There's a very spiritual component to it, of that creativity, of that feeling of being impelled. I think sometimes we don't really associate wand energy like in our society, like that wand fiery, like, yeah, energy with spirituality. We associate spirituality with more of the cups energy, which is kind of chill, relaxed, creative. And that is true. Obviously, cups energy is highly spiritual, but wand energy is very spiritual as well. And it's not necessarily expressed in a gentle way. It's not necessarily like I'm gonna go type and I just have a dream, and it's, although it can be that, but wand energy is more like I'm gonna do it, and I can't wait to type this, and I can't wait to like put this out there. So anytime we're feeling that impelled, I don't think that's a word. I was gonna say impulsion, but that's not a word. But whenever we're feeling impelled to do something, when we feel like we have to, when we feel like it's like bursting at the seams and we're just boiling over inside of us and we're filled with energy for something and we don't really understand why, that's something that's important and valuable and special for us. And it's not something to be discounted or just to be ignored. So if there is this idea that you have, this creative project, whatever it is, I feel like for a lot of you guys, it's something creative, but whatever it is, maybe it's an invention, maybe it's like, I really want to start this company, whatever it is, that's something that I feel like pile 4, you guys need to give yourself the permission to go after it and stop seeing it as like an indulgence or just like, this is kind of silly and stupid, but like take it seriously and see that like there's so many principles about spirituality, about like, just because we haven't seen it yet doesn't mean it's not existing. That's what the cosmic womb, the divine feminine, is all about, is like, you know, like I said, you wouldn't go up to a pregnant lady and be like, girl, you're delusional. You don't have a baby. You don't know. Why are you turning an extra room into your house into a nursery? Are you crazy? Why are you having a gender reveal party? What is wrong with you? You don't have a baby. No one would do that, right? Because we know that even though you can't see the baby, even though the baby isn't like walking and talking and moving around, it's in her belly. And so it is going to come out. It is going to be in that world. And she should prepare. She should get that nursery ready. She should, pick out the clothes for the baby and get, a high chair and get all the things that you need for a baby, or get diapers or whatever. Because it might not be in physical reality yet, but it does exist. It does exist. And it's just a matter of it entering into the world at the right time. And I feel like that's the energy for you guys, is like, yeah, right now you might not have this thing in the physical reality the way you want. Maybe the vision hasn't happened quite yet. Maybe it hasn't come true, and maybe you haven't seen everything that's going to play out with it, but there's so much potential here. There's so much power here that I feel like is just waiting to come through. And so we also got tarot cards, Queen of Swords, 5 of Cups, King of Wands, 2 of Pentacles, 3 of Swords reversed, and Knight of Swords reversed. And I didn't even notice that King of Wands. I just kind of really quickly shuffled. So that's interesting that I kept talking about wand energy, because I noticed the Queen of Swords. But I was like, do I sound crazy talking about a card that we didn't get yet? But I am very pleased to see that we do have the King of Wands. So yeah, I feel like this is that confirmation that, like, follow the wand energy. Don't discount it. Don't be like, this is stupid. I think sometimes people feel that way about, a lot of times, is like they think that any energy, like if you're approaching something, you should be in this like very calm, zen place. You should be very dispassionate. You should be very relaxed about it and just kind of chill. And I can say, as a Venus Aries, whenever I want something, I don't want it like halfway. I'm not like, maybe, I guess it could be okay. I'm like, I want it now. I want all of it. I want it right here. I want everything. Like, that's Venus Aries. Is like, we're very enthusiastic when we like something. We want it immediately. And I feel like for you guys, sometimes people discount that. Like, they say Aries, Venus is debilitated in Aries, but I beg to differ. I like Venus in Scorpio and Venus in Aries. And that's because both signs are kind of not obsessive. They're obsessive in different ways. Aries Venus tends to lose interest really quick, to be honest. And then Scorpio Venus tends to sustain that energy over a long time and be like really obsessive. Over like forever. But I feel like, both of them come into it with that Mars energy of like, I want this 100%. I want it now. I want all of it. I don't want it halfway. I don't want a little bit of it. I want all. And I feel like again, we discount that. We think that like love should be very calm and cordial and like relaxed. But there's something to be said for that like desire that you're putting towards something. And even when you're trying to manifest something or trying to make something happen in your life, not doing it halfway, like, well, whatever. If it works out, that's fine. If it doesn't, that's fine. But being like, I want this. I feel this passion. I feel this desire. I feel this urge to bring whatever this is forth. And right now I'm kind of talking more about creative projects rather than romantic relationships. But you could definitely bring it into a romantic relationship if you're feeling called to be in a romantic relationship with someone. You could apply it to a crush or something. But sometimes I feel like, we feel, oh my God, I care too much, or maybe I'm crazy. Why am I so into this? Why do I want this so bad? Why do I keep thinking of this thing, But actually, I think that's something to lean into. It's something to embrace. It's something to take as a gift, I know for me, whenever I really liked someone, like honestly, every time I've been in love, I fell in love at first sight. I'm just someone who knows right away. And I think that's the Aries Venus as well, maybe just also being psychic. But I've never been like, I kind of like him. Well, I see him as a friend. Actually, he's kind of cute. And well, he's a really hard worker and that's attractive. It's always been like, I'm all the way in or I'm all the way out. And I feel like, as much as people might discount that or say that that's an irrational way to make your mind up, I actually prefer that. And I like that when that's reciprocated to me. Like, I want to know that the person's all in. And I feel like I'm just talking about this philosophically, but as it respects to life as well, as it respects to a creative project, a goal you have. I don't know why, but we exalt kind of treating something like it's lukewarm. Like, yeah, that's okay. I kind of like my job, but I don't really care. Or relationship, same. And I always think that's like the worst type of relationship. Like, I would never want to be in a relationship where someone is like, nah, she's kind of okay, but I don't know. Guess I can't do better. So yeah, she's not that attractive, but she's nice enough. Like, I would never want that. And I feel like in life, we need to have that same attitude towards everything we want. Like, if you either like it all the way or you're not into it. And for you guys, I just feel like there's something that you're being called to do with your life that you keep second guessing. You keep being like on the fence about it, and your guides are like, excuse me, I gave you this desire. This is from God. I gave you this instinct. I gave you this feeling. I gave you this excitement and enthusiasm. And why are you second guessing? Just take it as it is. Just stop being in your head about it. Stop going back and forth about, well, maybe it's irrational to rush into this. Maybe I should make a plan. Maybe I should think this over. Maybe I should blah, blah, blah. Maybe it's a bad use of my time. If you're obsessed with something and you feel so called that you just can't stop doing something, that's honestly a blessing. That is such a neon flashing red light in your life about like, do this. And I can think back again to being an Aries Venus, not to harp on this, but like when I would have a crush back in the day, it would come on so strong for me, And sometimes I would be like, oh, I should be like a lot more chill, like some of my friends, how they're just very wishy-washy about guys. The guys they're dating, they don't really care. They could go either way. And I should be more that way, because for me, it's always been like, I'm 100% into the guy and I really like him, or I'm just not interested, period. And I can never, sometimes I wish I could be one of those people that's like, I'm not attracted to him, but he's got a really good job and he's really sweet, so I am going to have a crush on him. I just could never do it. For me, I'm just make my mind up and that's that. And I look back now though, and I think that's a really good gift to like know all the way and to trust yourself. And some of my friends that I've seen who have been in those relationships where they kind of talk themselves into it, they kind of told themselves, yeah, I'm not really attracted, but he's got a good job, or he's blah, blah, blah. Like, a lot of times those don't work out, or they're not really happy. They're not really excited later down the road. So for me personally, I'll always take that enthusiasm in life, whether it has to do with job, career, relationship, things like items for the house, decorating, literally anything. I want to feel that enthusiasm. I want to feel almost that obsession, that feeling of like, I'm all the way in. I love it. I know 100% I like this. I'm not going back and forth. I'm not trying to make it work. I'm not trying to convince myself. And for you guys, I just feel like this has to do with this project. Like you have the enthusiasm, but for some reason you're second guessing it, or you feel like it's abnormal, or you feel like, why can't I get this out of my head? This is so stupid. This is a waste of my time. I shouldn't be thinking about this painting that I'm doing, or I shouldn't be thinking about the story that I'm writing, or I shouldn't be thinking about becoming a TikToker, like whatever. But there's so much potential here. And if it's in your mind and you feel compelled to create something, that is spirit speaking to you. That is spirit putting that desire in your heart for a reason. And that's not something for you to get in your head about, because like I said, I think society does this a lot. They, for some reason, want everyone to just be kind of dispassionate, mute, and just kind of like blasé about everything. But to me, that's so boring. Like, don't we want to live a vibrant life where we're like obsessed, or we're so into something where we feel passion and excitement and we can barely stand it? That is like wand energy, magician energy. And I feel like for you guys, don't discount this. With the Queen of Swords, it could have to do with communication. We also got the Knight of Swords. So yeah, that can also definitely have to do with putting yourself out there somehow in the world, on social media, even like speaking, writing, those kinds of things are definitely covered by the Swords cards. And Spirit is like, why aren't you actively working on this? Because I almost feel like you guys have these ideas, but you're not actually making it happen. You keep, like I said, second guessing, being in your head and going back and forth about like, yeah, I don't, it's a waste of time. Just trust the desire. Don't second guess whatever this desire has to do with, because it might even be something like, I'm just obsessed with this city. I keep looking up images of Barcelona. I keep dreaming about going to Barcelona. Every movie I like is set in Barcelona. Okay, Barcelona, Barcelona, Barcelona. That was such a tongue twister, but then that's your sign to move to Barcelona. Why are you second guessing? Why are you in your head about it and like making a pros and cons list? Maybe you're not supposed to move to Barcelona forever, but maybe there's something in Barcelona for you to do, for you to listen to, for you to meet, for you to whatever. There's something there for you. And whatever this has to do, if something just keeps eating at you, something stays in your head, something is just, you can't get away from it, and it's back just pecking at you, that is so clearly an image from Spirit. That is so clearly a gift from Spirit. That is something you need to pay attention to and not like overanalyze it, because I do feel like you guys have been doing a lot of analyzing of it. Let's get some of these cards as well. Spirit, can you please give me guidance for pile 4 from their future self? So we got ride the wave. I love that for you guys, because it's like, you know, I think that's something that I've heard said about surfing is like, with surfing, you will fall if you start second, like imagine that moment. I've never been full surfing, like I've been body surfing and stuff, but never like full surfing. But as you know, with body surfing, you have to like catch the wave, and you can't be in your head like calculating like that angle, that wave looks like it's at a 45-degree angle, and I should approach like this, and maybe if I swim there, but then I might hit my head on this rock. Like, you have to just go for it. You have to align yourself in the right place, and then just, you see that wave coming, you don't have much time to really think it through. And I'm sure it's even more intense for actual surfing. Like, and I think I've heard people say, you know, if you start getting weirded out and in your head about it and thinking about, you know, oh my God, I'm on a wave, or like I could drown, or all the negative things that might happen with surfing, that's when you'll lose that wave. You'll like lose your balance. And it's that moment of being in the flow and just trusting and kind of turning your conscious brain off. I think there's a lot to be said for turning off your conscious brain and not letting your thoughts run amok. Like, I'm going to be honest, most of the time I don't think a lot. I mean, I do think, but not in terms of like words. It's just like a nebulous vibe kind of. And I feel like there are studies or whatever that like, I don't know what the percentage is, but not that many people think that way, but some people do. I don't know what the percentage is, or if it's underreported. I think they said it was 10%, but it might be more. But everyone was like, oh my God, that's crazy. That's horrible. How can you not have thoughts? So you never think anything. But all the people who don't really have a lot of words going through their mind all the time are like, well, it's kind of nice. It's kind of cool. I just vibe. And for me, like, I think thoughts when I think words when I need to, but most of the time I'm just vibing. And I think that's something to be said for that. I think a lot of times people allow their mind to go crazy with overthinking, with like an internal monologue that's a lot of times negative, instead of trusting that pure intuition in the moment, the pure feeling of instinct that is like what a lot of animals operate on, you know, of just that you trust in the moment. You don't have to second guess. You don't have to go over and over and over it in your mind. Like I know for me, when I'm walking around a city, if I feel an instinct of like, don't go in that store, I won't go in. And I'm not saying that I would have been like mugged and attacked when I got in the store, but maybe it would have just been I interacted with an annoying person, or maybe I was supposed to keep walking down the street because I need to catch that street light and it's the right timing for that, and I'll be annoyed if I miss the street light because it take that, you know, walking light, because it takes forever to cross that intersection. You never really know the reason why, and it's not for us to second guess. It's up to us to just pay attention to the signals. And that green light go, red light stop thing is actually a perfect example for you guys, because like I said, if a light turns green, you're not going to sit in your car and second guess, like, well, why is it green? Well, is it really safe for me to go? Well, what if I need to go here? Well, I don't know, because actually I thought the light was supposed to be longer, and so maybe there's a technical error. You're just like, oh, green, go. Red, stop. That's it. And so much of the time in life, we get those indications from spirit that like, green light, go ahead, move forward with it. But then we just second guess. We get very like intellectual about it. We try to figure out all the levels when we should just be figuring out, we should just be trusting the moment. We should just be trusting that instinct, that pure instinct, and living off of a place of that. So like I said, whatever this is that you're feeling urged to do, I feel like this is a definite like go ahead with it, and kind of like, what are you waiting for? Why not? With Golden Palace, there's a lot of potential here. There's a lot of good things that can come from this. So it's like, why are you constantly like worrying about it or not trusting it? Why not just take it as like, thank you guides for giving me this clear direction. Thank you guides for pointing me the way that I'm supposed to be going, especially if you guys have put out manifestations to the world before and you have been working on manifesting certain things. Our guides hear our manifestations and then they give us the guidance for how to accomplish that and achieve that. So they hear what we want and then they do the part where they tell us, okay, you can achieve it and you can make it happen, but you have to do this, you have to go this route, whatever. And sometimes we think manifestations are just going to magically happen, and sometimes they do, but a lot of times it's like a two-part process. We get the guidance, and then the guidance will tell us how to achieve that. Just like if you wanted to go to a certain place, you wouldn't just put it in your maps and be like, that's enough, just gonna end up there now, I'm just gonna like teleport there. You have to like put it in your maps, but then you're gonna walk there or get in your car or take a plane. And there's lots of different ways to go there, and Google Maps will show you. But you have got to take the actual steps to make it happen, and to listen and to trust that map and to just head off on it. Let's see if we get any other cards for pile 4. We got strength. So far we got ride the wave, goblins, Golden Palace, deep freeze, strength, and making a choice. So I feel like for a lot of you guys, this is something creative or some big endeavor that you guys are embarking on. And I feel like your guides want you to not even entertain the second guessing. Sometimes one way I think to cure, like sometimes it is easy to get in our heads about it. It is easy to lose confidence, especially if like you have put something out there, you know, and it's not getting a lot of traction. Like I can remember when I first started my YouTube and, you know, I was getting like 3 views per video. So thank you God to whoever was like the first, I think my 3rd video got 1,000 views and it was like crazy, but my 2nd video got like 3 views. And I was like, okay, if I continue at this trajectory, I'm going to have like 6 subscribers in like 5 years. So what about this? Like, I don't know if this is going to be working out for me so well. But the thing is, sometimes you got to like trust that process, you know? And sometimes while it may seem kind of fruitless in that moment, there's something you're learning from it. There's something to be gained from it. And I feel like at the right moment, you know, the right people will find you or pay attention to you. And it's really important to just stay focused on like the process. Like that surfer, the surfer could get really in their head about like, oh my God, I'm going to fall off, or like, you know, no one's watching on the beach or whatever, having your mind be on and just telling you a million crazy thoughts. But if you can lose yourself in the moment, if you can lose yourself in the body of just like, I'm getting on this surfboard, I'm standing up and just not even thinking things actively, just doing. That's when I think the magic happens. So I feel like for some of you guys, you're second guessing your work, like maybe you're writing something, but you go back and you read it over and over and you edit it to death and then you never do anything with it. And it's like, what if you just were to trust yourself? What if you just were to put that out there with confidence, with fire, with just like fire energy, boldness, and just whatever, just doing it and not caring what happens? If you just had that energy of trust and of kind of like I was saying, Aries, because another thing about Aries placements is, let me tell you, they do not care. Aries suns do not care how you react to them. I'm even that way with Aries Venus. Like if someone's not into me, like I don't care. If someone does like me, I mean, I do care about that, but I'm so like, I feel like Aries placements, we just don't spend a lot of time thinking. Like it's funny to me whenever someone says like, oh, but I'm afraid to approach this person. I'm afraid I'll be rejected. I'm just like, I can't relate because I have Aries there and like I just don't even spend time thinking about it. I don't even get in my head about it. I don't even worry about it. I'm just very goal oriented, or I'm just very like lost in the moment. And that's what Aries is. It's like Aries does not overthink at all. It's like the opposite of overthinking, and it's just action. It's just Mars energy, doing, pushing forward, going for it. So if you can apply that to whatever this is, whatever project this is, apply some Aries energy, some I don't give a whatever energy to it. Like, stop holding yourself back. Stop getting in your head and over intellectualizing it and just do. As the saying is from Nike, just do it. Don't even let your brain turn on into the pros, cons, whatever, and just take action. Because I feel like your guides have really put this in your life. They want you to move forward on it. And like, why not? Why shouldn't you? And if it doesn't work out, who cares? And if it does work out, awesome. You know, but like once we take our ego out of it too, like that surfer could get in their head about like, oh my God, what if I miss this wave? It's gonna be so embarrassing. What if I crash? I'm just gonna look really dumb. But instead, he just goes for it. He just trusts himself, trusts the process, and trusts that wave and lets it magically take him away on that board, you know? And that's what we have to do in life. Let this surfboard of life take you off on the wave and let it float you to wherever you can go, you know, because I feel like there's so much potential with this thing that you guys are thinking of. So I think that is what I have for you, Pile 4. I would love to know what this creative project is, or what this project is that you're thinking of starting. I'm very interested in this. So let me know if you feel like comfortable sharing it. I know not everyone wants to share it at first, especially if it's a little baby just gestating away and you don't want to spoil anything for yourself. So if you want to keep it private, you totally can, but if you feel comfortable sharing, I would absolutely love to know. Also, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, give this video a like if it did resonate with you, and subscribe. I would absolutely love to have you here, and make sure to turn on the notifications so you can find out as soon as I post. And if you'd like to see more of my readings, head on over to my Patreon where I post all my additional readings. When you sign up, you get access to over 35 additional readings about life, love, spirituality, relocation, all different kinds of topics. I just posted one yesterday all about your career and your destiny in this life, and we go into a lot of detail, get really deep. So definitely check that out if you'd like a reading about career. And like I said, when you do sign up, you get access to all my existing readings, and new ones go up all the time. We vote on new things, we suggest new things, so it's a lot of fun over at Patreon. And like I said, head to the link in my description and underneath the timestamps in the comments if you would like to join our little party over at Patreon. And also, if you guys would like a private one-on-one reading with me, you can also get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and sign up for a half hour or a full hour session with me. Ask me whatever questions you would like, or just have me open channel. You get to kind of decide how it goes. And so yeah, I would love to do a reading for you. So head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is also in my description, so you can head there as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I am sending you a ton of love and light, and I will see you guys very soon in my next reading. Take care, guys. Bye.